Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. That way you will be informed of all these great interviews that we will be having. Today, we are going to be having lunch with the one and only Joe Stripling. Joe, how are you doing today?
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. How did you get into martial arts?
I started when I was like 5 in karate. I went to a couple classes. I kicked someone in the groin outside of karate, so they pulled me away. When I was 7, when I kind of understood everything, and I started simple karate. At 7 years old, all the way up, I was about 18 years old. I did karate, and then I was wrestling in high school and junior high. Thought I was gonna go to college for it, but come to find out, I wasn't that good at wrestling. I was better at coaching. I was always helping teammates get better for wrestling matches and
Mhm.
stuff like cutting weight. I did that, and then I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then I found Muay Thai, and then everything else just went out the window, and now I'm stuck to Muay Thai.
When did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
I fought an MMA fight in, I want to say it was 2010, 2012, about 2010. I met my Muay Thai coach um, at the MMA fight. He wrapped my hands because I didn't know how to wrap my hands at the time. And my coach was a jiu-jitsu guy, so he didn't know how to wrap hands. He wrapped my hands, ended up beating the dude up real bad, and we told him it's because of the hand wrap. So he told me to come up to his gym. I started training with him, and literally like the next week, and I never looked back. I was training for MMA fights. I wasn't even doing jiu-jitsu or wrestling. I was just hitting Muay Thai pad work and working on my Muay Thai skills, and you kind of see that in my record.
Mhm.
I just worried about Muay Thai. I wasn't worried about the jiu-jitsu aspect or the wrestling aspect of it. I just love Muay Thai. I love striking. The art itself is beautiful. Everything about it is a tradition. Going to Thailand, you know what I mean? Like MMA guys are drama heads, and Muay Thai people are very respectful, and we like to talk to each other and hang out before the fight and after the fight. There's no beef, we should say,
Mhm.
in Muay Thai.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect. I think it's in, if like for MMA, I think it really all comes from whether or not the person is trained strictly in MMA that doesn't really have a specific style, you know? Whereas um, when they start with like Muay Thai or boxing or something, they have a signature move, I guess, a signature style. But when people are thrown into MMA, they don't really understand that it's mixed martial arts. Like they just look at the
Yeah,
letters MMA and it's like, no, it's mixed martial arts. You have all these arts together. And once you pick one or you have one, that's where you can tell the difference between the respect, the discipline, and all that.
right. Yeah, I always look at it like this: like MMA guys are the jocks,
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu people are like the band geeks, and Muay Thai people are the nerds. And we kind of all the nerds stick together, and all the jiu-jitsu guys stick together, and then all
Yeah.
the MMA guys hate each other, but they stick together. So that's kind of how I look at it, and I always
Mhm.
reference that on my gym, and people think it's funny, but I call my students nerds for a reason. You know,
Mhm.
like we're all in the same bunch. We all want to learn the same art, so we're a little nerdish about
Yeah, no, I love Muay Thai. I do. My first love is Muay Thai, and then it's jujitsu.
that. Okay.
And then, I mean, I guess boxing, but I since you do kind of stand up in Muay Thai, um,
Yeah.
it kind of like,
Boxing's hard. Boxing's hard to watch for me. Like the footwork's cool, and then certain guys are great to watch, like Lomachenko or Triple G.
yeah,
But everyone else is just it's just boring. I'm sorry. And there's no real boxing like good fights. Like the best fighter from one organization won't fight the best fighter from another
yeah,
organization, which is crazy. It's like the best fighters should want to fight each other to
yes,
make all the belts be unified. And I think that's the greatest part of Muay Thai is everybody wants all the belts.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So once I win the lion fight belt, I want all the belts. You know, I don't want to stop until I have all the belts, and
exactly,
then I'll stop. Yeah. So that's the goal for all Muay Thai stylists, I think, and just display beautiful Muay Thai.
yeah. No, it is beautiful. I love it. I'm telling like in the beginning, because you know what, there are schools that are, you know, they're mixed martial arts, MMA. I wouldn't even say mixed martial arts, it's MMA, and they say that they do Muay Thai, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then I go in and I'm all pumped and excited, and they're teaching some sort of kick. It's not even kickboxing; it's like cardio kickboxing, right? And then I was just like, I'm just not feeling it. Like there's something about it that it's, I don't know. Like I thought I would fall in love with it. And it's just, and then I end up going to lion fights and I'm like, this is it. Like, where has this been all my life? I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. But some schools, I'm not saying all, but like the ones that are starting, will do mixed martial arts. They say they do Muay Thai, but it's really a cardio kickboxing class that doesn't really teach anything. And then once you actually meet the real Muay Thai, it's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think there is Muay Thai and MMA, but a lot of schools that are MMA schools, they have Muay Thai. They teach like an MMA striking system instead of Muay Thai, like
Mm-hmm.
the march and the way we set up elbows and
Yes.
kicks. I taught at MMA school for a couple years, and I had Muay Thai class, and then I had MMA
Mm-hmm.
striking class, and it was completely different footwork, completely different
Yeah.
movements because you have to think about wrestling as well,
Mm-hmm.
takedowns, and all that stuff. So for me, it's two completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
And when like my guys fight guys from MMA schools, I just tell them to weather the first 2 minutes of the storm, and then we pick them apart after that because
Yeah.
it's not real Muay Thai. You know what I mean? No offense to any MMA schools that have good Muay Thai coaches, but it's just different.
You know, but you
Sorry.
can tell. You can
Yeah.
tell when they have real Muay Thai. Like there is no question about it. Like I used to train at the school, the rack, and they had Muay Thai classes, and they had, you know, jujitsu classes, and then they had wrestling. And I never really understood why they had it. They broke it down like that and the importance of it until I start seeing all these other smaller schools that were trying to just get MMA fighters, but then it's like they're not teaching. They just, it's just a title of saying, but then it's like I would see them and then they're like, oh, this is a Muay Thai fighter. And I'm like, okay, great. And then I'm like, no, 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 this is not a Muay Thai fighter because if you see Muay Thai, and you see that, it's night and day. That's like me saying like, yeah, that's like me. I'm an architect because I put two freaking rocks together. I am not an architect because I did that, you know.
Yeah,
But
for sure. A
how
lot of
has
a lot of a lot of fighters too, like MMA gyms want fighters as a business owner.
yeah.
Fighters don't make you any money.
Mm-hmm.
You actually spend more money on the fighter until they get to the big league, and
Yeah.
that could never happen. So for me, I have a couple guys in my gym that fight, but like they know it's like, okay, you're fighting. This is what you need to do outside the gym, and then just come to class because that's what we teach is straight Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even train MMA fighters in my gym. They are only allowed to do private lessons with me because I have to change
Mm-hmm.
everything for them. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of friends who do MMA, and I really respect them. I did MMA for a long time. If you fight and step into the ring, great. But I just ask people not to say they're a Muay Thai fighter if they don't really train at a Muay Thai school.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Everybody's different. I'm a purist, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I can't like for years I couldn't say, oh, do you train Muay Thai? No, I just train at an MMA school. This was before I learned the real what Muay Thai was because I'm like, they just have it in their description, but they don't really teach it. It's just kind of to like lure people in. And then it's
Yeah,
kind of, it messes people up if that's what they really want to learn. And it's not fair to them.
it's not. It's not, but it happens all the time, and it's okay. We're growing Muay Thai slowly in America, and we're getting much better. And all these promotions that are coming out for
Yeah.
pros and top level amateurs are really pushing the boundaries right now, and I'm super excited for the future of American Muay Thai.
Yeah, me too. How has martial arts influenced your life?
Um, honestly, it gave me more focus and confidence. I was a young kid, always got picked on. I was the fat kid, as you can tell. I'm still the fat kid. Um, but it just kind of calmed me down. I'm up and down. I'm like a
Yeah.
roller coaster. Some days I'm super hyper, some days I'm super depressed. There's critical names for that. Whatever. But Muay Thai or martial arts in general has made me be like a baseline, and being able to do some kind of martial art really helped me out. Like I've never really stopped a martial art except for about 3 years where I played rugby. But
Mm-hmm.
when I played rugby, it was still like that same like calm me down, get me going type
Mm-hmm.
of stuff at the time. But yeah, martial arts has been everything to me. I mean, it saved my life. The mentors I've met and the trainers I've met along the way, whether they were good or bad, have all taught me something.
Mm-hmm.
So I really respect that in life. Like a lot of people don't get that. Like
Yeah.
football coaches just want you to play football. They don't really care. Most of them don't care about what you do outside the football field.
Mm-hmm.
But in martial arts community, definitely does. Like, oh, what's going on in life? How's everything at home? Are you
Yeah.
okay? Are you eating? Are you sleeping? Things like that. And you can see that from the day one where people walk
Mm-hmm.
into them.
Where did you get your name from?
So I do this because I had an old teammate. We were sparring for an MMA fight, and we never really throw knees in the sparring session. MMA can hurt somebody or whatever. And I hit him with the knee on accident, and he fell over. And he woke up and was like, "Oh my God!" Felt like I hit with a bazooka, and then it stuck. And this was in 2007, after I was already professional for a year, and then I was the first Bazooka Joe, and then there's a whole bunch of other ones out there. But I'm the only Bazooka Joe in Muay Thai. So I'll take. I'll take.
So you led the way.
I try. No, I don't know if I led the way, but I just that was given to me by a teammate, and a lot of fighters pick their own nicknames, and I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I didn't pick my own nickname. It kind of just was given to me, so I'll take it. But there's a lot of really good Bazooka Joes out there, so I'll give them a thumbs up.
How do you find a balance between your professional and your personal career?
Oh man, for years I didn't have a balance. For years I was just trying to fight and find any fight I could find. And then sometimes I wouldn't even train and I'd get offered a fight and I would just take it. Now I have a established student base at my gym at Talk the Athletic where my advanced guys are the ones who are pushing me to fight and pushing me to train with them. Before it was just me trying to make sure that I focus on them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not fighting, the main focus is them. When I'm fighting, still the main focus is on them, but they also push back on me now. They're the ones like, hey, you need to go, make sure you go for the extra run today. Hey, make sure you go do your lifting weights tomorrow. I'll meet you at the gym, or make sure you're hitting pads with us tonight because we have this coming up. It's very cool, and the camaraderie at my gym is very awesome. I've had guys with me for over 5 years, 7 years for one guy who followed me from 2 different gyms and now my gym.
Mm-hmm.
And they just always push me and keep me better. And I think that's because I care so much about them outside of the gym as much as I do inside the gym. Like I text everybody once a week, hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? I haven't seen you in class in like 4 days. Are you okay? Things like that. And I keep a small gym because I want to keep that family atmosphere. And I want to have people stay with me for 4, 5, 6 years before they want to go on to another martial arts journey, or maybe they have to move somewhere else. So I really want to keep a small gym. I like having the amount of students I have to just be able to talk to them personally and not just collect a check at the end of the month. So that's what means more to me than anything.
When you first started, how far did you think you were going to get with this?
I started wrestling and I thought I was going to win states. I never won state championship. I actually never even made the state championship in Delaware, which is whatever. I was a little bit of a rebellious kid in high school. I didn't really finish out every year correctly. If whatever, it happens. But I thought I was gonna go to college. And when I found jiu-jitsu, I was very excited because I thought, oh, I could do this. And I won a couple advanced grappling tournaments as like a white belt and blue belt. And I was like, whoa, maybe I could do. And then I took a fight with really no real training. I've only been at the gym for about a year. I took a professional fight because back then there was no MMA.
Oh, okay.
It was just fight and fight. And I fought a dude and beat him up pretty good. And from then on, I was like, oh, I can make this work. And I was the only real MMA fighter from Delaware at the time. Like, we
Mhm.
have a few, like, Rockland Modafferi was born in Delaware. So was Dean Thomas. But they don't live here. And I've always lived here and trained. I've
Yeah.
never ran away. I've always been in Delaware. And my gym's in Delaware. So I was like the first and only professional from Delaware for such a long time that it really meant for me to like put Delaware on the map. And now I'm getting to do that 15 plus years in my career. Finally get to show that. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Awesome. What advice do you have for those athletes that are starting to go into Muay Thai or even any martial arts career?
Don't look to fight.
Mhm.
Don't think you're going to be the next world champion. Go into the gym for learning and to have fun and experience something different. You'll know if you're good at it within a year and a half to 2 years. Like, this could be a like legit. Like, I could go to Thailand and fight a few times. Like, and not against a tuk-tuk guy, like a taxi driver, against like a legit Thai fighter. You'll know that. Like, there's just, and some people know they're not going to be, but they come in every day and they just work hard for weight loss or for just
Mhm.
cardio or just to get their mind off of their daily grind. I tell people not to want to fight. I don't push anybody to fight. I only did one kid, and that's it. But he has it, and I saw that from day one. He walked into the gym, he had it. Everyone else, if they want to, we'll talk about it. You got to train enough, got to have
Mhm.
good basics, things like that. But I tell everyone, don't walk into any martial arts school thinking you're going to be a fighter. You should go into martial arts school because you want to learn that art, and that's the main thing as a martial artist is to always grow and keep learning, not just win 1,000 world titles, which would be cool, but did you learn a lot along the
Mhm.
way? You know what I mean? Did you learn the culture, or did you just learn how to punch and kick, elbow, and knee? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole aspect of martial arts for me, and I would rather learn it all before I became a world champion. So, but luckily right now I know a lot, so hopefully I can still become a world champion.
You know enough to become a world champion?
I think so. I think so. My trainer thinks so. If my trainer has confidence in me, then I need to have confidence in myself.
Yeah.
I tell all my students the same thing. I'm like, look, if I let you fight, I have confidence in you. You need to have confidence in yourself, because otherwise I wouldn't put you into the ring.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't let you go fight if I didn't believe in skill. I mean, we had that this weekend. Had fights at our place, and my guy went out there and knocked someone out in 13 seconds. I was like, yo, bro, why'd you go so fast? I couldn't even break down your technique. He's sorry. Next fight. Okay. Like, it's just confidence in himself. You can see it growing over the last 8 weeks with Cam. It was awesome. It was great to see.
So you want your fighters to show their technique versus
Always,
finishing quickly?
always, always, always. I would rather have beautiful Muay Thai display than win a fight by devastating knockout in the first round. Because that's what Muay Thai is. You want to grow Muay Thai in America, you need to show good Muay Thai. When you come out and you take a Muay Thai fight and you're wearing MMA shorts and you're throwing crazy hooks in the clinch, that's not Muay Thai.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the rhythm, the control, things like that. Like, that matters to me more than anything. But that's just me. I think some people don't care about that. They just want belts. And like I said, that's not the martial artist way. I think that's just, I'm a fighter. I'm going to go out there and win all these titles. Everybody's different, though. You know, like,
Mhm.
I don't. I believe beautiful Muay Thai means the world to me and my gym, and I'd rather you showcase 3 rounds of great, a crazy knockout in 30 seconds.
How long should someone be training before they start fighting?
At my gym personally, between a year and like 18 months.
Okay.
There has been exceptions to this rule. I have a kid who fought 6 months in. He was just that kid. I have another who fought 9 months in, like that gentleman who just fought Saturday. There's rules to the exception, whether you've trained before or you came from a sport that already has the athletic ability. That matters. But if you come off the street every day, I don't want you to train every single day right off the bat. I want you to train maybe 2, 3 times a week, and then slowly be like, I want to come in more, and like let your own mind make you want to do this. And after about 6 months to a year, you're like, man, I really like it. And then we put you in like our fighters program,
Mhm.
like just to see how you do. And if you do great, then it's like, all right, hey, listen, if you want to fight, here's the green light. I can go find you a fight. I can do this, do that. For me, when I first started, there was none of it. It was just like, you want to fight? Yeah, cool. All right, next week. You're like, okay. Like it's all it was back then. So times have changed. There's a lot of fight cards, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing,
Mhm.
bare knuckle boxing now. You know, bare knuckle MMA now, which just happened last weekend, which is crazy. It's there's shows everywhere. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Lift Way. I mean, there's that Lift Way. It's coming to America now too. So there's so much stuff you can do. You can just choose whatever you want. I don't know. I like Muay Thai. That's it. I love Muay Thai in the
Yeah.
story.
So, how did the pandemic affect your training and your fighting?
Oh, bad. Real bad. We were shut down for about 2 months. Luckily, um, Delaware was letting people open up
Mhm.
slowly. So I would have to do like 3, 4 people classes. So I was running classes from like 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock at night, just to let my students come in. We had to wear face masks for a while, all this stupid stuff, whatever. And then I didn't focus on myself. It was just
Mhm.
about the business, trying to maintain my rent, my
Mhm.
bills, my house bill, my house rent. You know, like I didn't have backup money, to be honest with you. Like most martial arts things don't.
Mhm.
Luckily, I got lucky and we made it through and we built back up. We lost 40 students all the way down to 10 students. And I
Oh.
had to build back up slowly, 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 slowly. And we're back to what a little bit more than we were before. And I really appreciate all my students that stuck around and all the ones who did. It's okay. You come
Mhm.
back one day. But I mean, it affected me in the business side, but at the personal level, I didn't care about myself. I cared about the students in the gym.
Mhm.
I kind of let myself go. The first 2 weeks, I was like, oh, we're on the pandemic. two
Yeah.
weeks, I'm going to drink a couple beers here and there. It went from a couple beers to a bag of Doritos every night to this to that, to eating like 4 times a day because we're bored. You know, like we're going for walks, but walking isn't really Muay Thai training. So
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it. But then when the pandemic was over, um, I got a phone call about line fight for the heavyweight tournament. And I was like, cool, I'm in. And they're like, cool, you'll fight March 19th. It was December 24th.
Yeah.
So we had Christmas, and I stepped on the scale on January 1st, and I was about 90 pounds overweight of a heavyweight.
Wow.
I was 345. Not going to lie, I was huge. I cut from 345 all the way down to 265 for fight night in March 19th to go and win the first round of the heavyweight tournament. Now my weight's much better. I'm already sitting around like 275, and I'm going to go down way lower for this fight so I can be the fastest and best Bazooka Stripling that has been in the ring so far.
Wow. How is your, I guess, cutting weight, that process? Because
Uh,
I always get scared for the fighters when they do weight cuts.
yeah, so I had a few friends who done intermittent fasting and give me
Mhm.
some tips on some stuff, and I have a couple personal trainers who work out at my gym as well, and they were like, hey, when you're lifting today, do this or whatever. And I've also been in this sport for a long time, so I know like when to lift heavy, when to pull back and start working
Mhm.
on explosion, and then when to start working on like plyometric style stuff. And I'm also a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat at all. So it's actually harder to cut weight as a vegetarian because you
Oh.
get so much protein as meat, like when you eat. So for me, I have to like plan my meals correctly. So I may be eating 2,000 calories of vegetables with some protein drink here or there that's plant based. So it's still vegetables, but I have to get it some other way. But yeah, I mean, I cut good. I did intermittent fasting. I went from 12 hours, all the way down to 23-1 by like the last week, like fasting for 23 hours, eating for 1 hour. I
Wow.
actually felt amazing the last week. Like it wasn't that bad. And my water intake was really good because I was working out so much. I just needed water.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like I was making myself bloated. I had to cut a couple pounds of water off for a heavyweight fight, which is crazy. But we did it and we made it. And I went out there and I fought the next day and I felt amazing. My cardio felt good and I won, luckily.
Wow. Wow. Weight cutting is always like, I can't.
Yeah, I told my guys I'd rather you be 2 pounds off the week before the fight, 3 pounds off, than 10, 15 pounds off.
Yeah.
I mean, there's guys who cut 20. I mean, they said that guy Figueiredo from UFC walks around at 170 or 190, and he cuts down to 156, and then the last
Mhm.
week he waters all the way down 25 pounds. It's like 11% of his body weight in a week. Like that's no
Yeah.
way, no thanks. Yeah, I've done weight cutting where I didn't make weight because I was dead. I wasn't sweating. That was when I used to fight at 185, but it became about the weight cut, not about training anymore. It wasn't about having fun.
Yeah.
And after I fought a few fights, I went 4-0 at 185 for MMA, but I didn't care about anything else but just eating. So I needed a break,
Yeah.
and that's when I started playing rugby, and I started like putting on pounds again, but lifting and doing
Hmm.
stuff that made me feel better. And then I fought MMA fights at heavyweight. I'm not the best heavyweight because once you take me down, I'm, I'm on my back, I'm like
Hmm.
a dead cockroach. I can't really get off my back. But Muay Thai, I can stand up. I don't have to worry about anybody
Yeah.
taking me down. I can do my favorite thing in the world, which is elbow people in the face.
Speaking of elbows,
it
your last fight, wait, I don't know if it was your last fight.
was. It was.
It was
It was.
okay. I mean, all these months are like going together that I don't even know what month we are in anymore. Um, you just fought El Jefe, and I
Yeah.
interviewed him, and he was like, because I was trying to like figure out how fighters are able to switch, their styles. Because if you're doing, sorry, I have like something flying. If you do MMA and then you go to fight Muay Thai, you got to switch the whole. You can't take the person down, you can't choke them, you can't do this. And so I was like, how do you switch, mentally? So he was explaining all that, and then he explained that when he was fighting you, he was under the or he was thinking that it was just like the normal kickboxing style, no elbows. He
Yeah.
goes, but then he elbowed me, and that was a wake up call. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're doing this. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So he was like, ever since that fight, he's been training and incorporating all that stuff. So, like he says, he learns from every fight. So when you said
And
elbow, it reminded me. He's like, yeah, that was a wake up call for me.
yeah, we knew he fought MMA a few times and he fought kickboxing a few times, but I don't think
Yeah.
he's ever fought with elbows in Muay Thai. So it's like the rhythm change and the control is different. And I'm much taller when I fight Muay Thai than I am when I fight MMA. My stance isn't squatting. I'm
Yeah.
super tall, so I can kick. And my face is farther away from his punches. He landed some solid shots on me, like an overhand right. He landed a head kick at one point. I was kind of mad that I got caught with that stuff. Like I learned from that, and I know what I did wrong, and we've
Yeah.
been working on that after the last fight. We thought that I was going to fight in March and then fight again in May for the
Mhm.
title. My opponent had an injury, and he pulled out, and then I was trying to whatever. So they pushed it back all the way to August, but it gives me time to learn what I needed to do better
Mhm.
for the next fight. I love elbows. One of my favorite fighters is Nathan Corbett. He commentates for
Oh,
Lions
yes.
Fight. I had him at my gym for a seminar, and he just beat me up for 3 hours. And then we went to dinner and hung out and talked. And then
Yeah.
I've been incorporating his stuff with my trainer style, and it seems to work out really well for me being a big guy.
Mhm.
So I just take it and use it. Terrence, you could see he wanted to kickbox, and I could see he wanted to throw hands and wanted to leg kick. So I knew if I could step inside of him and catch with an elbow, it would change the dynamic of the fight, and it did. And honestly, I thought they were going to stop that fight to go between round 1 and 2 because it was bleeding right into his eye so bad. I was like, there's no way he's going to go again. And I looked at my trainer, like, oh, this fight's over. Let me take my mouthpiece out. Let's relax. And then like, oh, round 2, here we go. And I was like, what? Oh. And you can see how slow I started in round 2 because I wasn't mentally there anymore. I thought the fight was over. And that's when I got cut. I ran into his elbow off his jab. I went to split, and I slipped into his elbow. And I was like, oh, my God, really? And then I went up there and fought afterwards and ended up winning the fight. Crazy judging, but I won the fight. And Terrence is a good dude. We talked afterwards, and I'm sure we'll see each other again for the title one day. So all respect to that guy. I watched his interview, I listened to it. I thought it was a really good interview, how his coaches break down training. One time he can only kick, one time he can only fight kickboxing, one time they can only do takedowns. Like, that's cool. That's what I do at my gym, so it's cool to hear other people that do that.
Yeah. Now, your coaching, how important is it for your fighters to have the right coach? Because some people just get coaches and I don't know, just to, I guess, have a coach, but they're not really coaching.
Yeah. For me and my guys, like, I turn people away from coach, like, as a coach.
Yeah.
People want to fight for me or whatever. I'm just like, listen, I turn people come to my gym to sign up, and I've turned multiple people away. Like, this isn't the gym for you. Because I'm a gym owner, I want it to be as pure as possible. And when I get meatheads in the door, or I get people who don't want to listen after the first day, I don't want them in the gym. Because every style is different. So if they come, especially if guys come from another gym, they have their set style. And then I try and change it, and then they don't listen. Oh, I like it like this. Well, I'm just trying to help you learn through another kick. It's not that your kick's wrong, that I'm trying to pull more power for it, like efficiency. And they don't like to hear it. And I'm like, hey, man, this isn't the gym for you. Sorry, man. Like, good luck in your career. People get really upset and I felt butthurt, but I'd rather it be that way for myself as a coach. My trainer, he does, like, if you want to fight and you train in the gym and you do classes, cool. But he won't take his time out of his day to help you get better. You know what I mean? Like, in Thailand, that style, like, cool, you want to fight for the gym, great. You pay for pads, you pay for the gym, everything, and then they'll fight you and they'll have people corner you, but you won't have a set trainer. So I have one. And True Eric Connery owns a basketball gym in Pennsylvania. He's got guys who fought in UFC, Bellator, M1, Lion Fight. There's a girl fighting for the WBC title for the women's professional 130 belt. Like, he's got people from all over the place, and all these people own gyms. And we all go back to him to be invested his time into us. And it kind of rubs off on everybody. So we all invest our time into people that want to be invested in and put the work in, put extra work in.
Now, have you been to Thailand?
Yes, twice.
How different is it from their actual Muay Thai to the Americanized version?
It's night and day. So when you go to Thailand, it's not just a martial art, it's a sport. That's how they make their living. So a lot of these kids start super young so they can eat. They can put food on the table with their parents. Gyms will take them in, and then the gym gets a certain percentage of each fight winning, so they can keep providing for the fighter. And you can tell that they just do this because they need to eat, they need to survive. When Americans come over, or we call them Falangs, the Farang, like Westerners come over, the styles don't match up. So when we went to our gym in Thailand, in Sityatong, we had other gyms that went with us, and they were not Muay Thai, and they were getting ringed out, and yelled at, and not doing the correct stuff. And then my guys that went were getting the praise and oh, you're very good. Frank, very good, good
Hmm.
style. You know what I mean? Like, it was just very eye-opening to see and watching these guys go out there every day, like the fighters, run 6 miles in the morning, 6 miles in the afternoon, pad work, bag work, hard lifting sessions like twice a day, and still going to school and then fighting on Friday. And they trained
Hmm.
super hard 2 days ago. You know what I mean? Like, that's their lifestyle. And to see that here in America is totally different. It's very eye opening. It's a good experience. And I'm trying to tell everyone it should be on your bucket list if you train Muay Thai to go to Thailand at least
Yeah.
one time in your life, not to fight, but just to go and
Hmm.
experience the culture because it's everything. You know what I mean? Muay Thai runs that and tours, like
Yeah.
tourism and Muay Thai run that country. And there's people from all over the world that just go there just to train Muay Thai. So it's cool. We have people from Australia in the same gym as we are, New Zealand, somebody in Europe, in Italy, and we all train the same style Muay Thai. So you see them in 5 years, they're still doing the same stuff that you're doing here in America. So it's super
Hmm.
cool to see and to train. It's fun. I love it. I love it. We were supposed to go last year, but the pandemic started down.
Yeah.
I hope it'll go this year.
What about the language barrier?
A lot of Thai speak Thaiglish,
Okay.
so it's like it's like English and Spanish together, but
Yeah.
Thai and English.
Yeah.
So like you say like I need water. They're like water,
Yeah.
and they're airport. Like they elongate everything. And I think that if you go to a country, you should learn certain terms to talk
Yeah.
to people, so you're not just totally out of the way. So but we have on our at our gym we write Thai words of the week, and everyone has to learn the Thai
Oh,
word of
nice.
the week, so we can start to be able to understand what they're saying. Because some
Yeah.
trainers don't speak English. Most do, not great, but enough to understand. But then you get to like the rural areas of Thailand, they don't speak English at all. So if you don't know what they're saying, you're like, okay, yeah, and then they'll punch you right in the face. You know what I mean? So you need to know what people are saying, and if you're training a style that's their sport in their country, you should learn a little bit of that language at least to get by. If not, learn it all the way. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn all the way, but it's a tough language to learn. It's hard. So
So in Thailand, the first two rounds are more of feeling it out type thing, and then the last
yeah,
three. How is that different from training? I'm not training, but when you fight here, whereas from like round one, they're already counting.
yeah. So in Thailand, they have a thing called entertainment shows, and
Yeah.
entertainment shows are fast starting. Like they're like let's go, let's go, let's go. And then we have like the stadium style. Stadium styles. First two rounds are filling your opponent out. And that's for the gamblers and the bettors to start placing more money on
Hmm.
who has better technique, who do you think is going to win, how they're going to win. So it's a money machine over there. So Muay Thai, you can gamble legally on Muay Thai without getting in trouble. And entertainment shows over there are like super fast paced, in your face, ready to go right off the bell goes. In America, they want fast paced right off the first bell. For me, I'm a slow starter because I want to see what my opponent's going to do. Because even though I train for someone for 6 to 8 weeks, they may change something that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read them. You can watch my fight in Boston. You were there, or Foxwoods.
Yeah.
When I got my legs beat up for a minute and a half,
Yeah.
he didn't come out anything like we thought he was. So I had to adjust from his power style punches
Hmm.
to the head to leg kicks. And finally, I was like, oh, okay. And then I started slowly taking back
Hmm.
over. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a little while to register some stuff. People are like, oh, man, you should never got beat up like that. It's like, bro, you go in there and watch what happens to your leg. You know what I mean? Like, it is
Yeah.
what it is. I still came out victorious,
Hmm.
but, things change. And I'm always, my first fight, every fight, I lose my first round. I
Hmm.
think every round, except for this last fight with Terrence, I think I lost every round from them from before. I've never won a round in the first round. So I'd rather feel my personality to beat up a little bit, let their hands get tired from punching
Yeah.
my hard head, let their legs get tired from me check and kick, and then I can slowly take over. So that's what I try and do. My trainer hates it. All my students hate it, but that's kind of how I am. So it is what it is sometimes, but it makes me read people better.
Yeah. I think now I get it. Now I understand it because I think in my mindset before it was the mindset of MMA, you know, how anything
Yep.
goes in your, it's like some people are just strictly, you know, jujitsu. They have a little bit of striking, you know, so it's like you have all these different arts. In my head, it's like, oh my God, you can finish a fight right away because you guys have different styles. But
Yeah.
now that actually made me understand better why Muay Thai is the way it is and how it starts and all that stuff. It's not,
Yeah.
you're
Like
not looking to finish right away because they're not going to take you down and choke you or.
exactly, exactly. And then like I'll say this, like Stephen Walker, even though he knocks people out in the first round, he doesn't start fast.
Mm-hmm.
The other person starts first, and he reads them, and then he goes.
Yes.
Um, there's a kid named Ian Greer. He fights online fight as well. He got knocked down in the first round. It was super wobbly, almost knocked out completely. He survived, and then second round he started like finding the rhythm of the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, he won that round. He was elbowing the guy every time he come in to throw hooks, and then he dumped the guy and landed on his elbow and blew his elbow out. But that's Muay Thai to me. Like one
Mm-hmm.
guy starts fast to survive, and then the other guy turns it over and picks up. Because if they see me losing in Thailand the first round, the money odds will go like 4-1 if
Mm-hmm.
I go win. It might go 6-1 if I knock the guy out for the next 2 rounds. You know what I mean? So the money goes up,
Yeah.
so that way people will start betting on me or betting against me, and it'll be super high bets against me, and then they'll lose all their money versus the guys who bet for me. So it's cool. Like it's cool to see. And America, I mean, I need to learn how to start faster. I know, but sorry, I'm a traditionalist at heart. As you can tell with my sweet shirt, it's traditional style Muay Thai. So.
You're scheduled to fight in August.
um, that's what they're saying right now. I'm still waiting for contracts to come in for this.
Okay.
The fight was supposed to be May, when Stephen Walker was supposed to fight
Mm-hmm.
El Jefe's old coach.
Yeah.
Um, but that did happen. My opponent got hurt. Looked like he hurt his shin and hurt his knee in the fight, so he needed a break or whatever. I was ready to fight. I mean, obviously, I only had a little cut on my head.
Yeah.
I had a broken shin from kicking the week before. I kicked the kid. He's got super bony shins. I broke my shin. It is what it is. It's Muay Thai. It will re-break and restore eventually. But I wanted to fight, and now it looks like it's pushed to August 27th. Just waiting for contracts to come in and everything, so I can like buckle down on camp and do stuff the
Mm-hmm.
right way. Because I'm not trying to train crazy, and then the fight get pushed back a
Yeah.
month, and then I'm already now 15 weeks for camp instead of 8 weeks for camp.
Yeah.
So training too much for me, I think, is people train too hard too early. Like when you're training, train, have fun, relax, learn something, still get a sweat on, still get your stuff on, but don't be in fight camp. And then when camp starts, that's when you start focusing on that opponent, that style to break or to win. And hard, you hit everything at 100%, and you're no more learning anymore. You're more just, let's go. I can get ready to
Mm-hmm.
knock this guy out. So I think you get better when you're not in fight camp. So you train, and you
Mm-hmm.
learn, and you teach other people when you're not in fight camp. Fight camp, learning kind of stops. You kind of just focus in and hone in
Mm-hmm.
on what you're going to do that night. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people train super hard all the time, and then they're like, "I'm so tired. I don't want to. Oh, this fight sucks. Sorry, I didn't showcase my skills. I fought like a zombie." It's like, well, you trained for 15 weeks, butthead. Like, why didn't you take a couple of days off here or there and have a good time and relax? You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
see a lot of MMA guys train too hard all the
Mm-hmm.
time, and then they go fight and they're like zombies. You see in UFC, like guys
Yeah.
who are really good in the regional scene, they get the call like, "Oh my God, I gotta go. I gotta start training super hard," and they'll get a fight for 6 months. They've been in a 6 month camp,
Yeah.
so their body's depleted, they're exhausted. By the time they fight, they look like crap. Like, how the hell did that guy get here? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm just waiting for everything to come through and go from there. I'm excited to win first real good Muay Thai title.
Nice. How do you, or what are your steps after you fight? You're done with the fight. You've won. What's your recovery, or what's your process?
We usually go out and have a couple drinks with my trainer. When I'm in fight camp, I don't drink any beer. I don't cheat on alcohol. I'm drug free, vegetarian. I don't do supplements. I literally just do what my body wants me to do naturally. I don't do any medicines. I don't take Tylenol. I don't take Advil.
Well,
But I like to drink. So during fight camp, I don't drink.
okay.
I like to have beer. I love beer. Beer's delicious. But after the fight, I'll have a couple of drinks with my trainer. We'll talk, hang out, try to get our mind off the fight. Because after fight night, you're still in that fight mode. I want to watch the fight. I want to see what I did wrong. I've learned over the years to not watch it until about 2 days later. So like let your mind just get off of it, relax from it, and then you go back to it and see what you did wrong. I will have a bag of spicy Dorito chips. I love Dorito chips. I'll have a couple beers. My kids start school 2 days after I win, so I'll have to be getting him ready for school. We'll go from there.
Oh my goodness. I was, you know what?
I try to be entertaining as possible as well. So if people don't like my entertainment skills, sorry, I'm not getting paid for entertainment.
As a fighter, as a coach, how important is it for you to receive your pictures and your footage and all that in a timely manner?
Honestly,
Yeah, I want to know.
I don't care.
You don't care? Okay.
No, I care about like a contract, plane tickets, medical, stuff like that that needs to be done early. I want to get that done early. So I don't have to worry about that 2 weeks before the fight, just stressing out to find a ride or doing stuff like that. My fighter's the same thing. I'm like, hey, you're fighting in a month. Is your medicals done? No? Get them in this week. I'm not playing this game. Like, I don't want them to worry about, hey, I got to skip practice the last hard week of camp because you have to go get an eye exam one day and blood work another day. You know what I mean? Like, get it done early and get it out of the way. That's my main thing. Also, I just want people to be accountable. You know, like you tell me something, you're gonna do it. Don't lie to me or don't say, oh well, we have to do this. It's like, do it right now because you said you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm that person. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You asked me last week to do this interview at 12 o'clock on Monday. I wrote it down my calendar, 12 o'clock on Monday. You text me today, 11:30, signed in 11:55. I signed in 11:55. I try and be accountable. I think that also comes from being an owner of a gym. You've got to be on time. You can't be late. If you're late, it then rubs off on your students. And all of a sudden, you're now starting classes 15 minutes later than it's supposed to be. And then you start to lose students because they can't stay late. You know what I mean? So I try to keep it. And my wrestling coach in high school was like, if you're late, you're giving me 50 burpees and running a mile before wrestling practice. I was like, I'm never going to be 50 burpees. Are you serious? So, yeah, it matters. It matters to me. But my sponsors want me to be accountable for everything. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I have to do that. And then they want, like, if it's about pictures and stuff like that, they want that stuff right away so they can repost it or they can share it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at our fighter. Look at this. Look at that. You know, and I'm still learning these things. I'm old. I'm social media. I'm old. I talk to my young kids at the gym. I'm like, hey, how do you do this? Like, oh, we got to go do it for you. I'm like, no, show me because I need to learn. You know, I'm telling you, it's a whole different era nowadays.
It is.
Before it was me texting people, hey, I'm fighting in a month. 5 tickets from me, meet me here. You know, now it's social media a couple times a day. Check out my sponsor. Check out this. Check out that. And I love it because we're getting help. And it's growing the sport. I don't know anything about it. I'm still trying to learn. Like I get phone calls every day. Hey, you forgot to do this. I'm like, oh crap, I'll do it right now. You know, I'm learning. I'm trying. Please give me a break. Please.
Is there anything else that you would like to share before we conclude with this interview?
No, I really just want to thank Lion Fight for the opportunity. Once I win this title, hopefully I can get a world title fight after that, after winning the North American belt. I want to fight the best in the world, and I know everybody wants to fight for Lion Fight, so I'm okay defending it against anyone once I win. I want to say good luck to my opponent, Warren. I hope he's training good and ready to fight and have a war on the 27th. I want to thank Muay Thai Grand. They're a really good sponsor of mine. They're friends. They really push the sport of Muay Thai on social media, which I'm learning. They really push it really hard to showcase Americans in Muay Thai. It's not just about Thais or people from Europe that already are good or Brazilians. It's everyone, and they really are focusing on Americans right now. And there's a lot of up-and-coming Americans who are really, really good, and Muay Thai Grand is really doing that, and I really appreciate Muay Thai Grand for helping me out. And these guys aren't my gym, Salty Athletics. They're awesome. My students, I love you. Bunch of nerds, but I love you. And then these guys aren't a sponsor, but Knockboy Legends, they're friends. I've known these guys for before I started fighting Muay Thai. They make amazing t-shirts and shorts, and every time I go on the interview, I always wear the shirt. Support them. All the money goes back to the legends in Thailand that they use their logos from. So it helps them out as well. You know, like a lot of them don't make a lot of money. So if they get a couple extra bucks here or there, it really matters. And that means a lot to me keeping the sport around and paying homage to the old school guys who paved the way for us now. So really, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate this interview. I had a good time. I like to talk crap and have fun.
We'll continue in August.
Sounds good. I'm in. I'm ready to go.
We'll do it after your pictures, after we take your pictures.
Sounds good. I'm ready. Make sure you get my good side.
I will.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Anytime. Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys. Thank you so much. What a cup.
Thank you. Bye.